By what authority do you do these things? In physically upsetting the temple, the Lord was mentally upsetting the system. The authority was that of the system. In the evangelization of the Chablais area by St. Francis de Sales, legitimate Bishop of Geneva but in exile, he, in this reconquest of what belonged to the Church by rights from what had become a huge socio-political force, Calvinism, in the area, he did actually come out with this while preaching. Who sent them? Indicating that if the authority was not from the correct source, there was no mandate from on high. The mandate. When talking about theological issues, one has to know where to appeal. I recall years ago in formation hearing this conversation between our very learned professor of theology, who was a holy Carthusian as well as being a great erudite monk. He calmly answered when challenged on one point by one of the younger brethren, who had said, if you read Enrico, that's an author on mystical theology, you will find, and so on. He calmly answered, tout de suite, l'argument de l'autorité. Straight away, the argument from authority. And he very calmly and with great dignity added this: I see myself in no way inferior to Enrico, because he knew a lot about the whole question, and the young monk talking to him only knew the argument from authority, but he was using it immaturely. One needs to know source material to dialogue. One does not repeat opinions of others. The difference between serene possession of the truth and a hard holding to an opinion is that the one holding an opinion knows so much that he'll never learn any more. The serene possession of all the elements of a question and all the facets of a vast truth is far more convincing by its peaceful mode. It disarms, because it's never alarmed by any new bit of truth. It has already been aware of it way back. I remember hearing also this from the novice master, referring precisely to those who did have opinions about all kinds of things. Vous tranchez, you are trenchant. Those who know a lot, ils ont lu des wagons de livres, they have read wagons of books, et ils sont prudents, and they are prudent. That is, they don't tranche, they don't go into a trench. And there is also an old saying, isn't there? Timeo hominem unius libri. I fear the man of one book. We have also an old English saying, a little learning is a very dangerous thing. And so it is that one sees in conversation a person who is reasonable, because he wants all possible grains of extra truth. He also is good at listening, and he will learn a lot. Now, with regard to the truth that we perceive, it is closely linked also in the case of Christians with the sense of the faithful. It is also linked with the conscience, and these can be sharpened. Discernment is a gift of the Spirit to be asked for intensely. On this day we recall Paul VI. He's one of the at least 3 people I would have come across who are now canonized saints. Another would have been St. John Paul II, another Mother Teresa, who happened to come to our parish when she was much younger, in 1969 or 70. Well, these all saw things with the vision of God. St. Paul VI, I remember when seeing him in Rome, when I was sent there by the university to study things in Rome, was quite remarkable by his facial expression. And some of the nuns who were staying with us at the English college said, "What a gentle face." He suffered a lot. He had to hold it all together at a very difficult time. But he had gems of wisdom, and one would be what he had to say about the conscience and its link with joy. He had this very interesting teaching on joy, Gaudete in Domino. In it we find this: by bringing our lives into harmony with the innermost appeal of our conscience, which is the echo of God's voice, we are on the road to joy. Joy cannot be found without peace, and peace cannot be found without harmony with the dictates of conscience. And the healing is in what is now becoming difficult of access, the sacrament of reconciliation. Among other things, he recommended frequent confession as a privileged source of holiness, peace, and joy. A seminarian who talks a lot in class and interrupts lectures is his own worst enemy. He'll soon find that he's warmly encouraged to move on and defeat the object of his being in class in the first place. A wise man keeps his privy counsel and knows that the truth is not in any way changed by a flatus vocis, a breath of air, but remains the same, and therefore will know how to find it. It's all to do with knowing how to manipulate source material. Being a good seminarian is all about knowing how to handle and find the sources. They are the source of authority, the unchanging voice of the Church, not the latest loud opinion. Mi ricordo quando l'università mi ha mandato a Roma per studiare sul posto le cose classiche nel 1975, ero colpito dalla mitezza del volto di San Paolo VI, di cui si pensa oggi. Lui era l'uomo che ha dovuto portare sulle spalle una rivoluzione e tenere tutto in unità. Lui scriveva lettere non lunghe, ma intelligibili e profonde. aveva un insegnamento sulla gioia e indicava che seguire, essere in armonia con la voce silenziosa ma penetrante della coscienza era anche la strada verso la gioia, e che anche la frequenza del sacramento, la guarigione spirituale, la confessione era una chiave di accesso, perché non c'è gioia senza pace e non c'è pace senza armonia tra la cosa percepita, tra la coscienza e la cosa fatta. Sarebbe da recuperare. Chiediamo la grazia oggi di una tenerezza e mitezza simile a quello di San Paolo VI e di grande fedeltà a tutta la tradizione della Chiesa, in cui c'è la vera autorità, perché la verità non cambia secondo le opinioni umane, né secondo maggior volume di sillabi. Chiediamo questa grazia di intuire e di sapere nel senso latino, gustare la verità che non cambia mai.
Spes nostra salve, a te clamamus, exules Filii, a te suspiramus, gementes et flentes, in ad lacrimarum vale, eo ergo advocata nostra, in nos tuos misericordes oculos ad nos converte, et Iesum benedictum fructum ventris tui, nobis post agens in eius